Hey, good afternoon. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard, and we are here for a book review. And finally, after all this time, 47 years of life, I have read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is my first read of it. I've always wanted to do it in the month of October, and now I have. I like the book. Look, do I see why it is a horror classic, horror staple? Absolutely. Do I see why it is massively important for women in horror fiction? Absolutely. I mean, do I love it as much as my favorite, what I consider horror classics, The Shining, Salem's Lot, The Haunting of Hill House, etc., etc.? No, I don't love it that much, but I do like the book, and I did love the experience, and having being able to say now that I've read it. First of all, didn't expect to love this edition as much as I do. Got it for my birthday. I mean, I don't know if it's authentic leather. It smells like leather. I don't know if it doesn't say, but leather, end papers. The pages are super thick, so when you're turning them, you feel like you're actually doing something. I mean, like that's 40 pages. I don't know. Anyway, they feel thicker than normal pages, but really, really love the edition. So much so that I'm gonna probably try to get some more horror slash adjacent books in these, to put them on the shelf. But the book completely different than what I expected. And again, I've talked about this in my wrap up and also in the short video that I did on Frankenstein. But the thing that sticks with me, that impresses me, is how much the lore of the book has maybe taken over the actual contents of the book. I mean, so much so that, we see a little kid walking around in a green mask with stitches and bolts on the neck. Oh, wow, cool Frankenstein costume. But, the monster is not Frankenstein. I think most of us know that, but I think that your non reading population does not know that. That the doctor, the main character's last name is Frankenstein, and the monster, I think, pretty much goes unnamed. Vile beast, demon. What's the word I'm looking for? Can't find the word I'm looking for, but yeah. So things as small as that, as the monster not actually being named Frankenstein, but then bigger things. I mean, I don't know that I've ever, if I've seen Frankenstein films, it's been a long time, and I think I just have this imagery in my head though that this book was going to be about the creation process. I mean, my assumption was that this doctor, was collecting body parts and limbs and stitching them together, and then maybe the culmination would be the lightning strike that comes down and brings him to life, or whatever. But that's not the case. I mean, like I said, the monster part start is early and done and abandoned pretty much. I mean, our main character creates this creature and decides that it's a vile, despicable thing, and abandons it, and does not, kill it off. I mean, just abandons it, and so this thing is left to its own devices, so to speak, and it learns to be civil. I mean, it learns speech and customs and traditions, and how to survive very quickly, it would seem, all on its own. And it goes out in the country, and it kind of hangs out where these people are staying, and it you know helps out when I mean, they're bringing in firewood. The next day they wake up and firewood is just full with what the monster has put there. But eventually they see him, or find him, and um, he's just too vile. He's too ugly, too monstrous, and so we get to a point where the monster does some vile, despicable things, but it's like he's been driven there by neglect, by abandonment, by all these things by just, a lack of ever finding any type of acceptance or friendship or a mate. And so, he comes back to the doctor and he's like, look, yes, I did these things, but this is why I did these things. I need you to create me a mate. Very biblical in that aspect, Adam and Eve or whatnot. But um, I need you to create me a mate. And so Dr. Frankenstein goes off to this remote, like, I want to say Scottish island, Irish island, cool, I guess, backdrop setting for this part. And he starts the process and then just decides that he can't, even though the monster has kind of told him, hey, I'm gonna, you mess your life up. I'm gonna haunt you if you don't do if you do this thing for me. Yeah, I only did these vile things because of the abandonment stuff. That won't happen again if I have a mate. We'll move off to a remote place and just live out our lives. But he cannot come to terms with the idea of putting another one of these things out there. So he abandons it. The monster has been watching from afar. He knows he abandoned it, and he starts to wreak havoc on Dr. Frankenstein's life. Now, Dr. Frankenstein is set to be married, but he was going to handle all this business, this creation of a mate, before actually going through with the marriage. And again, the monster has basically told him, "I will be there on your wedding night," and so yeah, so that's what we're kind of left with. I mean, not left with. That's where I'm going to leave you. I'm not going to go into further details, but the monster does wreak havoc on Victor Frankenstein's life. And for me, it's again, completely different than what I expected. I thought we would spend way much more time in maybe even scientific jargon about the creation stuff, but it's really a book about our past haunting us and our things in our past coming back to haunt us, and the fact that there are some things that we can't just walk away from and abandon, without confronting them when it's time to confront them, or they'll haunt us for the rest of our lives and potentially ruin our lives. So, yeah, this is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Probably 4 stars for me. Again, more so because of what it is, because of you know the classicness of the book. I mean, but it's also, it doesn't like read super hard. Like, it doesn't read like a difficult classic. I mean, there were some parts where I got bogged down a little bit, but for the most part, it reads well. It reads, I mean, not as easily as like a modern horror book, but it reads pretty easily considering that it's uh, when was this written? It was late 1800s, right? I mean, I don't have that information in front of me. I think it was late 1800s. But yeah, so enjoyed it. Glad to have it in my toolbox now. And that's it. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Thanks for being here. Like, subscribe. Trying to get back into this. Trying to make this, like I said, a good part of the next phase of my life as I get to the end of my of having kids here in the house. I said I've got a sophomore in college, and I've got a junior in high school, and I'm going to turn around and it's going to be me and my lovely wife and my books. So yeah, trying to bring this aspect of my life back to life, like the monster. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, well, Redbeard, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn